That's right, we are being positive today, because why spend all this time watching wrestling if you're just gonna be a sad panda? Exactly. So let's just throw ourselves right into it, because my name is Simon from What Culture. Please do subscribe, and that's right, this is 10 amazing signs that wrestling is about to hit a boom period. Number 10, the wrestlers have options. Or there's competition. This is important. Now, when WWE did have that stranglehold over the industry for 12 years, I'm not going to say it was the worst thing ever, but it's so much better when you do have another major promotion, because look at what has happened over the last couple of years. All of a sudden, there's so much more creativity in the business, and that's because you have to start thinking outside the box. AEW kicking off in 2019 provides all the evidence you do need that it kick-started those juices, and let's not pretend it didn't provide us with a bunch of buzz too. Do you remember when Cody Rhodes made the jump from All Elite Wrestling to World Wrestling Entertainment? Everybody lost their vibe. And do not forget, it is so crucial to keep this interest high, and it's happening all over the globe too. I mean, Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, she's now in New Japan. What the flub is happening? It's also good for the wrestlers because they can make more money and probably be more protective over their characters and their gimmicks. And it's like anything in life. You don't just want to pick one, it's nice to have a choice. So do remember that we want all companies to flourish because it does make sports entertainment better. For example, imagine I came round your house right now and said, oh no, sorry, Nicholas, you're only allowed to wear Nikes from now on. You'd be like, but I want to wear Adidas, and I'd take them away, and you would think I was a massive jerk. Number 9, the major companies offer something different. And tying right into that, we now have a couple of unique takes on what wrestling should be. Good. So whether your name is Triple H or whether your name is Tony Khan, you can see the separate dynamics when you do tune in on a Monday, Wednesday, or a Friday. That just makes it so much more damned interesting. Because the game is always going to be a little bit more sports entertainment for obvious reasons, whereas Tony seems to embrace old school wrestling, which means you can just go through every single week and decide how you want to fill up your tum-tum. So while there is always going to be some crossover, you're allowed to pick your poison. I mean, whatever titulates you, it's not the right word, but whatever gets you going is the direction you can now head in. Once again, for about 2 decades, that wasn't the case. I mean, when you do go back in time and look at something like TNA, which I very enjoyed, by the way, it was kind of WWE light, even though I always thought that saying was a little bit mean. It all ties into the fact that if you do want the industry to boom, this is the setup we do have to have in place. Once again, just look out your window, it's happening right now. Number 8, the return of danger. And I don't mean mouse. But let's just look at the top guys in WWE and AEW at the moment. MJF is certainly one, and Roman Reigns is the other, and we've now got to the point where you just watch both of them and go, I don't really know what they're gonna say or do. Maxwell Jacob Friedman especially is a ticking time bomb these days, and when it comes to Roman, do you remember that end scene at the Royal Rumble? I mean, that was actually harrowing. If you do want to say that both of these guys have a similar swagger to The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin, I wouldn't argue with you, and it just goes to show, even if we do have a program that operates within PG parameters, can we step outside a little bit? Yes, we can. It also leads to those essential conversations outside the wrestling bubble, where one person goes up to another one and says, did you see that on TV last night? And that can surely only help get more individuals invested. Word of mouth is important, and that's the way to do it. Number 7, a spark for the indies. So recently, WWE and the likes of Progress Wrestling and ICW have gone separate ways when it comes to the WWE network. Obviously, they were airing their programming, but as of 2023, they ain't doing it no more. Now, there is pros and cons to everything, but let's focus on the former, as we've already discussed, because if we do turn the clock back once again, there was a time when ICW put 5,000 plus fans in the Hydro in Glasgow, and Progress basically did the same thing at Wembley. And there is no reason to why this can't happen again, and now that they both do have this freedom back, maybe they can shake things up a little bit, and all of a sudden the independent scene, not only in the UK, will be thriving around the world. I mean, in many ways, it already is. Did you see that Defy show the other day? It was nuts. Now, just for transparency's sake, I will tell you that I'm very proud to be the host and wrestler at Progress Wrestling, but it doesn't mean that I don't believe this. And also, let's not forget, all the goodness runs downhill. So WWE is doing well, and AEW is doing too. You can go and pick a cherry for yourself. What does that mean? Number 6, stadiums are now the WWE norm. And quite frankly, that is ridiculous, but also awesome. Because whether it's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or the Royal Rumble, they are now able to pick a massive, multi-thousand stadium and run the thing there. And sure, they don't always sell it out, but they're breaking box office records, and they do pack so many people in, it looks damn good, and you're able to go, that's the big leagues. Money in the Bank 2023 is also coming to the O2 Arena in the United Kingdom, and while they'll probably sell that out about 20,000 people, of course they could have done more if they wanted to, because what did they do last year? They had Clash at the Castle in Wales, and they did over 50,000. It's also physical evidence that wrestling is moving in the right direction, because this isn't going to be happening unless people are interested. And if I start Simon Bowl, ain't nobody gonna come, because everyone's gonna be like, what the hell is Simon Bowl, and why should I spend my money there? Very true. Number 5, AEWs Global expansion. That's right, because as announced last year, in 2023, AEW is coming to the United Kingdom, and I am excited. Tony Khan has long mentioned that he'd like to do this at Craven Cottage, which is the home ground of the Fulham Football Club, because of course he owns that damn thing. And while you could pack a lot of people in there, even if he does decide to go somewhere like the O2, I bet they still sell it out. Because have you seen their TV ratings over here? They're doing very, very well. I, of course, will try and be part of this show because I am a bit of a dreamer, although it's probably not going to happen. But there's more here as well, because recently All Elite Wrestling have not only signed deals with the likes of DAZN, but also with ESPN, so now they're appearing all over the world, which only ties into the fact that wrestling is booming. I don't know what that was. It also stands to reason that come 2024 they could be touring all over the place. I mean, South America, Europe, India, Asia, Australia. And if you can get the two top companies managing to attract people from across this planet, well, it sounds like things are going pretty well to me. Number 4, retro stars working in harmony with current stars. Trust me, that wasn't always the case. For example, do you remember when Bill Goldberg took on The Fiend and essentially steamrolled him for the WWE title? Now, I'm a big Goldberg fan, but we shouldn't have done that, even though he's my dad. All we need to do is contrast that with Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 38, and even though the Rattlesnake won there, holy crap did it do the world of good for Kevin, who came out the other side feeling like a bigger star. Sting is also doing this with Darby Allin because his existence basically exists now to try and help his fake son. And do not forget, even though it didn't happen, The Rock was going to come into Mania 39 to lose to Roman Reigns, would have made his stock even bigger than it already is. It sounds like John Cena is also about to do the same for Austin Theory, and this is such a good place to go in, because obviously retro stars have their worth and you should bring them back, but the major reason should be to put over the current stars. Right now we're doing a pretty damn good job. So it's just another area where things have picked up along the way, and now it makes me excited at what we're going to do in the future. Also, AEW basically did this with everybody. There was Tully Blanchard, there was Jake Roberts. Give it to me. Number 3, organically over characters. This one is huge. It was only a few years ago where we were sick and tired of WWE, trying to force, and have done that, Roman Reigns down our throat, but look at the 180 we've had. He is now absolutely the man, plus we have the likes of Sami Zayn and Rhea Ripley, who organically have just connected with the crowd, and WWE have stroked their fake beards and gone, well, we should probably give those guys a push, and they actually did it. Now, I've wanted wrestling to go back to this for years, because do not forget, if we don't practice this practice, you probably wouldn't get a Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was the flubbing ringmaster. It's the same with Cody Rhodes, because people were genuinely interested in his jump from AEW to WWE, to the point not only did he win the Royal Rumble, but he main evented WrestleMania. I mean, imagine somebody had told you that when he was Stardust, and it goes to show WWE is now being so much more flexible, and that is only going to benefit everyone going forward, because it means it could be you. You could be the next big thing. AEW is also more than happy to do this, which is why the likes of Danhausen were signed, and if you need some physical evidence for him too, he absolutely killed the merchandise game last year, which ties into number 2, merch is flying out the door. So yeah, it does lead me very nicely to my next point. Fans are spending cash. I mean, Cody Rhodes' merchandise was so popular over Royal Rumble weekend, somebody had to ring up the stock dude and get more ordered in, and just go and Google anything to do with Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, selling like hotcakes. It also means the wrestling audience has a disposable income that they're willing to spend on wrestling because they're passionate about it, probably because the business is booming. The reason it is so important does tie into a man that keeps coming up in this list, but once again it's Steve Austin, because do you remember how that 316 shirt changed the game? I mean, it basically set the world on fire, which was the same with John Cena. The reason we didn't turn him heel is because people were like, I mean, look how much t-shirt he's selling, because they can't talk English, I don't think we should do it. AEW is exactly the same, because Chris Jericho was able to make a mint out of hocking champagne, and when CM Punk came back, even though we've hit a little bit of a foible with him, he basically broke pro wrestling teeth. It's also another metric that just goes to show that all of this is very good, and remember to always wear your wrestling t-shirt with pride. There's nothing wrong with being passionate, and even I have wrestling tees on Pro Wrestling Tees, which probably actually works against my argument. Don't worry about it. Number 1, WWE feels fresh. So who knows what is going to happen when WWE potentially gets sold? I mean, after that fact, it could be a completely different company, but we don't have to worry about that. That is future you's problem. And if we focus on the present, I think WWE right now is kicking some serious ass. This is all quite simple too. The reason it does feel more exciting is because Vince McMahon stepped aside and Triple H took over. And while he hasn't changed things all that much, he has just tweaked it to the point. All of a sudden, it does feel very fresh. I mean, do we get the extension of the Bloodline storyline without him? Does Rhea Ripley get her big push? Do we get that amazing match with Gunther and Sheamus at Clash of the Castle? And is Gunther even still with the company? Because there were rumors out there that Vince McMahon didn't understand what the big deal was. Look at my face, it's massively confused. As far as I'm concerned, he's a future world champion. So it's not like WWE has done a 180 anything, but all these little tweaks has just made everything so damn better, to the point not only have ratings increased, but I get very, very pumped about tuning in. It goes to show that other fans are gravitating towards this though, or that we're receiving happiness and joy. That's basically what I should have said at the start of this video, because when you're happy and you're joyful, everything feels like it's going to be alright. Now please do leave a comment below and let me know if you think the wrestling business is about to boom, and let's be positive here. Like the video, share the video and subscribe, and make sure you click on the video that is on the screen right now. You can also follow us on social media at WhatCulture WWE and Simon316, and if you would be so kind, check out our website. It all ties together. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for joining me as always. Have yourself a lovely little day. See you soon.